Hey, so we are back. This is TheEnder. So, game 2. So, even though this is group stage, in addition to that, each one of these is a best of 3. So we've got a bit of a few more games than I was actually realizing. So, Mong is still playing killer. He's up 1-0, but he's got to win one more game to win the best of 3 for the group. So, killer's still got a great shot. Alright, so let's move into the game. Terran at the 1 o'clock position, Zerg at the 7 o'clock position. Killer versus Mong, just like the prior game. I adjusted the in-game sounds. I tried to reduce them a little bit compared to the microphone. I'm not sure which one is better yet. Let me know, and we'll keep improving. Alright, so once again, 9 drones, Overlord morphing, so not a rush, it's an over something, possibly a 12 something. It's a 2-player map compared to last map. I believe it was Fighting Spirit. Last map was Fighting Spirit, not this one. So since it's a 2-player map, it's a whole lot easier to scout your opponent. And so once again, if it's it's sort of a gift and a curse. If you're going to rush, you know where to send your units, but if you're scouting, you know where to scout. So good and bad, depends on how you play it. Alright, looks like a 12 hatch from Killer, and Mong is being really good at denying that hatchery going down. Killer had to pull a second drone, which isn't uncommon. SCVs have 60 health, drones only have 40, so even with that regen, they're not going to win that head-up confrontation. Without a friend, at least. Alright, and looks like pool is going to go down. Looks normal. On the Terran side, you can see that barracks dot in the main. He's about to expand as well. I guess you could say it gives a minor advantage to the Zerg, since he went 12 hatch and the Terran went for barracks and to expand. That being said, it's still pretty even, pretty normal. So this is an interesting map. You see you got that really small choke there. So if you put siege tanks on the other side of that, that can be really annoying if you're trying to break it. It's pretty much not going to happen unless you have, dark swarms or mutas on the high ground. But we'll see how it plays out. So Mong won the last game. If I were to attribute it to anything, I don't know. I mean, that early Ling aggression that Killer tried, it didn't accomplish anything, and those could have been drones. But at the same time, it looked like he protected his third base well. That being said, he did rush the hive, rather than, droning up, especially at the third. And you saw at the early part, he was only getting gas at that third. And that's a really big resource commitment, and he didn't actually get anything done, so Mong got up to 4 bases, Killer was still on 3, and it was only a matter of time before he bled out. But okay, different game. So we've got a fast layer, 2 hatch. It was based off of a 12 hatch originally, so usually they have the resources to get a 3rd hatch pretty quickly. So it's going to be a slightly more aggressive build than prior. Alright, so that loading is actually in the source video. That's not me, I checked. So sorry, but nothing I can do. Alright, so the Lings are denying scouting from the SCV. Of course, if you keep the Terran in the dark, you can force them to play more defensively, not as economically. Always want that. Alright, fast Spire, still only on 2 hatcheries. It's not uncommon, but it's very, it's noticeable. So, ooh, yes, got that. Alright, so the reason he caught that Zergling was, caught the SCV with the Zerglings, was that he did finish Zergling speed. Alright, so 3rd hatch is on the way. You can see it at the 6 o'clock position, 3rd base. But we do have reasonably fast mutas, much faster than last game. Because last game we went for the Zergling aggression before, and then 3 hatches before the lair, and then Spire. So we've still got Zerglings threatening to run into the main. That's a lot of wide open area, man. So that's just to see if, the Terran moves out, Zerglings run in, give you a bad day. But Mong's keeping it pretty safe. He's pushing out. Wait. Oh. In the back. Yes. Oh. Sonic like that, too. So, oh, come on, Zerglings. Don't be stupid. So, yeah, pathing and Brood War, it's rough. But they are speedlings, so they can run like very little else can. So, among other things, you're buying time. You'll notice that once again, no sunken colonies at the Zerg base, which once again, I mean, the natural is just so wide open. It's so annoying to have to make sunkens, because there's a chance that it won't even cover what you're trying to cover. So in addition to those 2 or 3 SCVs that Killer's gotten, he's actually stopped some of the turrets from being built right away, which is really good considering the mutas are coming now. And because of this build, since it was only a 2-hatch before layer build, he needs to get as much done as possible. Alright, so 3 turrets up in the natural. He's not going to be able to do too much there. There's too much space behind it. If the cliff was a bit closer to the minerals, then the mutas could just dart back and forth, and the turrets wouldn't be able to see the mutas that well. Man, he's getting work done. He's doing well, and no mutas lost. I could never do that. Yeah, Muta Micro is hard, but I never practiced, so I guess it's my fault. Alright, so let's see. First Muta goes down. That being said, they've done some pretty good stuff. I think they've killed about 6 SCVs and a Marine. But mutas are expensive. I mean, mutas are not. The reason you go for mutas in the early game is that it's really nice when you have a very low amount of larvae, and the muta costs something like 8 times what a Zergling does. So you can spend all your money on a good unit, and it doesn't take all your larvae. I mean, yeah, it'd be great if we could just make 8 Zerglings per mutalisk, but don't have the larvae. They're so hard to control. And then you can't get all of them fighting at once, which is the nice thing about having air units, since they stack up. But he's done a really good job keeping the Terran in his base. He's got 3 gas, which early 3 gas is really useful. I don't know if it's for extra lurkers in the mid-game or another fast hive, but having that option is really, really nice. Alright, so right there, Killer switched out one of his mutas, probably a damaged one. Alright, so Zergling's going in with the mutas. Buy the mutas a little bit of extra time when they fight the Marines. Pull back, pull back, pull back. Lost another muta there. Ooh, so there's a damaged muta. Yeah, so his rally point is really far away, and his third base is completely undefended, no lurkers yet. So if Mong attacks the third, he could have a really, really good chance of getting it. He didn't do that last game either. I was slightly surprised. By the time he got to it last game, there was already lurkers there. He's just being... Oh, that's a lot of mutas. It looks like Killer's going for some form of mass mutalist build. He's got an upgrade too on the attack. So he's got about 2 control groups. And Terran's, Mong is no starport yet, so the mutalists are still pretty decent. Once he gets a starport up, the irradiates just really do so much damage to the mutalists. It becomes suboptimal to even try. But alright. Oh, he thinks he has enough to just all out take out those Marines. And it looks... Oh, man. He just crushed them. Yeah, because once you get enough mutalists, you can just steamroll small groups of Marines, even if it's normally not cost-effective, since Marines are so good, they have such high DPS. Is he going to take out the turrets? He's taking out the turrets. Oh man, he's like one-shotting them. So normally it takes turrets have 200 health. Usually if you have 11 mutas, 9 base damage each, 99 attack. So if you had 2 groups of 11, and it's 11 because you have to include an overlord for the micro, then it would only take 1 shot each, but he's got that +1, so he doesn't even have to wait for it to burn down. He can just literally one-shot turrets with those 2 groups of mutilas. It's really hard to control, but hey, if you're a professional gamer, go for it. He's taking on the Marines again. Oh, man. He's just got so many mutilas. He's doing it. Ooh, 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 but he got caught by 4 turrets. Actually, this might be game. He's on top of the barracks. He's on top of the barracks. No more Marines can spawn. They'll just get instantly picked off. That's... wow. That's impressive. I mean, it's hard to do. Mutalisks are good, and they're very mobile. There it is, GG. Killer wins. Very nice. Wow. I haven't seen a player win with all mutas versus Terran since, like, Jaedong used to play. And, of course, Jaedong's awesome. Alright, see you in Game 3. Score's tied, 1-1. Killer versus Mong.